Now you're listening into Paul's Unscripted podcast. Okay, guys, welcome back to Paul's Unscripted podcast, and today we're going to have a guest named Haikal Skandar. And I just want to say, this dude is one of the most resilient guy that I ever known. And his life story is quite a heartbreak, and it's inspiration how he get through it. And yeah, bro, tell us your story, man, and how did you
Hey,
handle the death of two of your loved ones? It's quite deep topic and it's quite grim, but yeah.
well, where do I start? You know, so the topic today is dealing with grief, right? Dealing with
Yeah,
grievance, is that
handling
it?
grief.
Yeah, handling grief. Um, First of all, before I start, I would like to say that my story might not be a story for everyone, but for the right person, it might be a lesson. That's all, and it might be a lesson to all also if you just kept an open mind and listen. All right. So where do I start? Dealing with grief. So my story starts in 2017. My dad passed away in 2017, and it was really a shocking moment because it came without notice. No one's equipped for grief, for
True.
death of a family member, especially when it comes to a patriarchy family. Um, Especially when your father is the breadwinner of the family. So I'm the eldest child of out of four siblings, and ever since birth, I've been groomed by my dad on being a family leader. And I'm telling you guys, even though being a family leader, there's nothing, no matter how much leadership lessons that you go through, you are still not prepared for the loss of a family leader, for a father. I was just 20. I'm 23. I was just about 19 or 20 years old, around there. So losing a father at the age of 20, the only breadwinner of the family, was a big hit to me and the rest of the family. So this is the moment where you have to be really strong, and it's also the most confusing moment of time, the most confusing time ever in your life, because you have to think a lot of things, like how is your family going to survive, what are we going to do after this, debts and all. So yeah, a lot of things to think. And then the grievance with the whole family grieving, because my dad is a well respected people in our family circle. All right, so he's like the elder in my family, so everyone looked up to him. Now there's a void in this place right now. Who is the next family leader?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing also. And then fast forward about last year, I lost my brother, my young brother. He just finished SPM. About a week after SPM, he passed away again due to sudden death. Okay, he was playing rugby, and then during a moment of warm up, he collapsed out of the blue.
Was it
His
a
twin
heart attack?
brother, sorry,
Was it a heart attack?
it's not a heart attack. It's gastrical. What do you call it again? Gastric lining dia pecah.
Oh,
I mean, he has
whoa.
gastric. Yeah, all of a sudden, we didn't know he has gastric. Okay, we didn't know, but then it just happened. His whole stomach exploded inside him because the acid level inside his stomach is high, so it penetrates through the stomach lining lah, and flowed out into the rest of the organs. Corrosive, yeah, it's corrosive. So until today, I'm still dealing with grief, recovering. because the death of a father and the death of a brother hits very different. It hits differently. So yeah.
When the death of your father, as you said, it leave like quite a huge void in your family, and and you take up the responsibility of family leader at quite early age, a quite early
Yeah.
age, I might say, and it's when we're 20s and we're still now, we're
Ye-
mostly think about girls and doing fun things with friends, and doing stupid things and having fun, and not really dawn upon the responsibility that we're going to have to take care of the family, basically.
the funny thing is, when I'm dealing with grief, I would say each person's experience is different.
Yeah,
Up till this point, I've never met a person who, at the age of 20, lost a father, and then at the age of 22, lost a
lots of
brother.
brother. Yeah.
Okay, I've never met someone who's like me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some people, yeah, sure. I have a friend whose father passed away when he was a very young age, and his memory of his father was very vivid. So when I asked him, "Can you relate with me or not?" and then he said, "I can't because I didn't even know my dad, so I don't have that familial relationship with my father, who's absent for about the rest of my life up until now." Unless So I think your pain is much more deeper than me, because you had a chance to grow up with your father and all, and then the loss of your brother also, a brother who's really close to you. So yes, what you say is really true. Taking up the responsibility at an early age, you miss a lot of things and you have to sacrifice a lot of things. So how to say this, I cannot say that I regret that I don't have the time. I tried to make time actually to hang out with friends, but it's very limited, you know. And then it's because of that thing, that huge amount of pressure of responsibility that's been placed upon your shoulder, is what's actually making you more hard to grieve, for you to really, really recover that fast. Up until now, my friend has asked me, "Are you still over the fact that your dad passed away?" No, I'm not. But you have to be strong about it. Okay?
And right now, who's the breadwinner of your family? Is it your mom, or you guys make a business out of it, or what?
Yeah, I'm currently doing my business also.
Yeah, you can
Also my
promote it if you
mom's.
want.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to drink Chanrakter, so yeah, I'm selling it. One set you get.
We
I'll
put
just
that in
promote it
the
later
end
on.
and we promote it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All
Back
right.
to the story.
Yeah. Back to the story. And then, as you said, a lot of people my age is trying to find love and all. Now, the thing about love, right? It also hits really hard for me because, as I said earlier, when my dad passed away, it was a really confusing time for me, because I was also having a love issue back then. Okay, so all of these things, all of the hard things that's affecting someone in their life, I'm experiencing it all. Heartbreaks, the death of a parent, the death of a brother, and then studies and all. It's all affected up until
Yeah.
this point, and it's shaping me to this lah today. It's really hard. It's really hard because in the span of my dad passing away up until now, I've had a few multiple heartbreaks, and it's really hard for me to find love because you have a responsibility back at home, and not a lot of people my age, our age, understand that. Okay,
Yeah.
if a lot of my friends, they find love for a fling.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of them out there.
So I want to find love for something more than that, of course, right? But it's really hard for me to stay committed at those early times, because I had to spend a lot of time with my family, because I'm basically the leader of my family now, all right? So I cannot give 100% towards a girl, And then she will end up like, why aren't you giving me 100% of your time? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I have a family to take care of, So it's really hard for me to find love. And it's really hard for me to go lepak and all. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that's very understanding of your situation, I guess, because it's when people like go into a relationship, they expect that the significant other would spend most of their time caring and giving attention to them. So yeah, it's quite a hard thing for you, man. Damn, got a hard life at the start of 20 years old. And you was the imam of your dad's funeral, right? And
I was.
And I read the post that you wrote in Insta, and it hits me quite hard actually. The question of what if. Yeah, that really sticks in my mind quite strong, man. That was quite wisdom.
If one thing that my dad has, that I still remember my dad, is that he was a really a wise man, and he would regularly told me things like, he would advise me regularly on how to navigate life. Okay, but I would take that for granted because I was kind of a rebel kid back in the days, because I felt like my life was 100% being controlled by my parents.
Yeah,
but then only then I knew, after his loss, I felt like, damn, I wish I could have been controlled more.
Yeah. You were like more focusing, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he could say that, because in every action that he took in front of me, in every word that came out of his mouth towards me is actually a word of wisdom. Okay, every time there's a family meeting, I will sit there and watch. If I had paid more attention, and I will see how this man navigate his life through leadership and all. And then I'm like, how dumb of me for not paying attention. So kids, listen to your dad, okay? All right. Regarding the being imam for the funeral of my dad, right? It was actually, I had no idea how to become an imam at that time. How to become an imam for funeral prayer lah, right? For solat jenazah. Luckily, at the hospital, on his death, alright, I became imam on 2 occasions. One at the hospital, the other one at the masjid, at the masjid where his body is buried. The graveyard, yeah. So the first one at the hospital, at the morgue, I have no freaking idea what I'm doing. Okay, I wanted to put aside on not being an imam. I wanted to give the hospital staff to become an imam, but then luckily one of my cousins, he pulled me aside, and then he asked me, Abang Long, do you want to become an imam or not? I'm telling you this, you better jadi imam. You better become an imam. Why? Because this is the last time that you are ever going to pray for your father. Because after this, you have no more father. After this, even if you become an imam for somebody else funeral prayer, it's not gonna hit hard, right? Because it's not your father. But this time, it's your father. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll become the imam. Instantaneously, I just say that without even thinking, what if I don't know what will happen. But luckily, in front of the walls in front of me, there's a macam panduan lah. Okay, there's a guide on how to perform funeral prayer, and I just followed it bit by bit for takbir. Okay, now regarding the what if, that's actually true, because the first takbir, I still remember it back. The first takbir is the what if he was alive, that he will see me graduate. The second takbir, what if he was still alive? He would give me an advice, pull me to the side before a wedding, which is my wedding, and then he would give me one of his advice about, son, this is the girl that you're going to marry, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
All right, and then the third takbir is when he held his first cucu, his first grandchildren, which is my son or my daughter, my children lah. Hypothetically, okay, that is the third what if. And then the fourth takbir, the last and final takbir, that's the one, that's the reality, that's the reality. God hitting you with the hammer, the reality hammer. Damn. He's in front of you, lifeless, wrapped inside a white cloth.
This kind of a moment of acceptance, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm no longer burdened with the what if until this day, because I think this is the revelation from Allah also. That He meant to show me that He wanted to give me comfort in the what if that He showed me in the first, second and third takbir, that if it were to happen, it would be a good thing. The fourth one, He wanted to show me that this is the path that I have given you. And I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you for showing me those visions. And I'm okay with my dad going away.
That's that's kind of the hardest thing of people when dealing with grief, right? Accepting.
Yes, acceptance, yeah. So when upon entering the fourth takbir, the fourth final takbir, when I opened my eyes, after all of those visions, the fourth takbir, when I saw him in front of me, lifeless, wrapped in white cloth and all, I'm not gonna lie to you, man, this whole face is all swollen with tears.
Yeah, the floodgates are open.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, after finishing the whole prayer, I turn around, and I think it's quite uncommon for any funeral prayer to end with this. I just said to the crowd, it was a huge crowd, okay, because all of my dad's friends from all walks of life came.
This one is in the masjid, right?
No, this one's in the hospital.
Oh wow, okay.
The hospital was full with my friend, my dad's friend, the same as in the masjid. It was full.
It shows a lot of like what he was like back in the days. A lot of people remember him.
Yeah, he's a really great person because he likes to help people. Yeah. And then I said to the crowd, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for coming to my dad's funeral. So here lies Aznan Zainal Abidin. I would like just to say that he was a good man. He was a really astounding father. He was a wise human being, and I am grateful. My whole family is very grateful that a lot of you has come here. And yeah, thank you very much. Al-Fatiha. It was just instantaneously, it was random. I didn't even come up with that thing. It just came out of me from nowhere.
Probably that's the emotion that you feel like during, like, after the prayer.
Yeah, true. And then it was a lot of new things to me also, because afterwards I had to deal with, okay, how we going to transfer him back to Kedah and all. A lot of the paperwork, even though during my dad passed away, I just helped it. But due to that experience, when my brother passed away, I handled it 100%. Yeah, that's another experience that not a lot of people in my age know how to handle.
Yeah,
right?
True. I'm taken aback from your story, man. It's such a, I bet it's such a huge shock for you on the day that he died. And was it a sudden death or what happened?
Initially it stemmed from food poisoning. Okay, my dad had had like a celebration at his office. He was eating KFC. That's the thing. His
Yeah.
most favorite food is KFC. So he likes to eat KFC. So when the office brought him KFC for the whole office, he ate a few KFCs.
Yeah.
And it came from there. When he came back from home, he suddenly felt he got feverish. Okay. And then we all thought it was just a normal fever, and then it started to become worse. He started to feel pain on the abdomen. I was there during when he fell sick, but then I had to go back to UPM
Yeah.
first year. Yeah. So when I went back to UPM, I had to stay there for class and all. Also, I had some work to do during that time. And then 2 days later, he went to the clinic that we all used to go. And then the doctor there said, you need to go to the hospital fast because he was developing yellow skin.
Jaundice.
It's just, yeah, I'm not sure on the detail on that.
Yeah.
But he was developing demam kuning lah.
Yeah, it's probably because of he have problem with liver, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He has liver malfunction. His liver malfunction.
Okay.
So that's the cause of his death. Liver malfunction. So we called the ambulance and then took him to Sungai Buloh, and then the doctor just like, you need okay, we're gonna do some tests on you, blah blah blah. And then for one day. Now this is the one thing that I regret till this day. When my dad went into the hospital, I wasn't there before he was put into induced coma. This is one of the things that haunted me till this day. I've accepted his death, but what I didn't accept until this day was the fact that I wasn't there at his side I was there during his final days, but I wasn't there during he was conscious. He passed away during his coma. So sorry about.
Tak apa.
So here's the one thing that I really hate about student life is that you have so many things that you have to think about your future, and one of it is doing assignments and all shit. Sorry for the language.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I had an assignment during that time, and I couldn't come and visit the hospital in time. So I stay up late. When I woke up the next day, my mom miscalled me about 16 times. I was so damn tired at the time. I woke up around tengah hari, around the afternoon, and then I just rushed back. So my dad was put into induced coma in the morning. When I arrived there, my mom was horrified. I don't know what to say to her exactly. Why I wasn't there earlier and all. And then she told me that my dad kinda kept calling for me. But I wasn't there. So yeah. When I arrived there, my dad was already put in coma, and so that was the last day he would be alive. The next day he would pass away due to liver failure and heart condition. So I didn't sleep the whole night during that, because I stayed out with my mom at the hospital for the rest of the night, and I kept researching. I still remember I kept just sitting in front of the life support machine, and I kept researching about the machine on the internet, and how it functions and all, how the oxygen level works and all, and what are the signs that the body is in problem indicated by the machine and all. I just kept reading, and then when something weird happens, I would call the nurse. Okay. Just to be fair, during that time I was in a bad place. Okay, we were uncertain about our future, so of course I would get angry if the nurse didn't show any concern about the machine and all. Because and then regarding the IV bag, the water bag, right? Yeah, you're supposed to, I don't know lah, okay, but the water bag was empty inside there, was empty on the machine, and they didn't change it for the next 2 hours. I thought the IV bag was supposed to be kept.
Oh, you didn't tell the nurse?
I did tell the nurse, but she was like, meh. Like, what the fuck? That's my dad, no.
Yeah, sometimes the problem with medical personnel, they watch a lot of death and they're kind of immune to it, I guess. So that's why they have an approach of taking care of the most sick first, and then it's quite a daunting thing within the medical industry. But yeah, that's kind of the problem that some of the nurses and doctors have when you work so in that field for quite a long time. You kind of lost the sense of, how can I say, sensitivity, kind of.
Yeah, I see.
I guess, but it depends. It depends on the person itself. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Okay, I'll continue the story. After you got angry with the nurse, and then
I just got angry at the nurse. Almost quarreled with them at some point. Like, why? But then over the course of the year, it just numbed down on me, and I don't blame anyone, because probably that nurse she was late in her shift hours, and she was probably also tired and all, doing her rounds. So yeah, one of the few lessons that my dad told me is that if it happened for a long time ago, just let it go. Just let it go, right? Because there's no point in remembering back the things that had just happened. It's better for you to just focus on the future and the present. Yeah. So yeah, afterwards he passed away the next morning, and he was surrounded by a lot of his friends. I would say half the public ward was filled with his friends and families also. So yeah.
And I bet you got like a lot of, how can I say, a lot of support from your family, extended family, your dad's friend, your friend, and your significant other, I guess.
No.
Oh, that time you don't have any significant other yet.
Yeah, no, I did have, but she couldn't come because she had some other things that she needs to do, and yeah. But it's okay. We're way past that. I didn't even blame her for it, Oh, okay.
Well, I bet it was like so fucking hard on you. And in terms of support system, right? We sometimes we tend to treat our families, friend, and significant other
differently. Yeah, true.
Because of the different level of emotion connection.
Yes, true.
And yeah. And what was the different thing between like your support system within your family, and then your friend, and then your significant other?
I would say a tremendous difference, because the support system in my family, from both sides, from my mother's side, from my father's side, it's all very, very, very tremendous, because I think it's due to the fact that my father was well beloved from both sides. So they really, really, really gave us a full support in everything. Yeah. Except for a few uncles though, because that's family politics. I'm not gonna delve into that.
Okay.
That's family politics. Okay. Fucking uncles. All right.
Okay, and then?
Okay.
How about your friends?
Friends also have been very, 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 very helpful. Now it's a bit tricky with friends, because there are friends that I would consider friends in a few categories. Some would be best friends, some would be just acquaintance, some would be just friends. That's all. And how to say this? A lot of my best friends now, those friends are really really good because they will just hit me up and that, hey Kal, hey Is, would you want to hang out after this? Want to go lepak dekat Trice ke, or lepak at some place that I cannot tell. Right, some places.
Dark alley, yeah.
No.
Okay. Hope it's not a red light district.
No, God, no.
Just kidding.
No.
Okay, and then?
And then some friends will just like, oh, your dad passed away. Other people had worse.
Oh, damn.
Oh
Seriously?
damn, serious I tell you.
Oh.
Ada orang macam tu tu, babi gila. Like sumpah, aku ingat lagi. I still remember it till this day. That person, I don't know what's her beef with me. And then I was really okay. It was really really understanding why. And FYI, this came from my classmate, my current classmate in my faculty, my current batchmate. Okay,
Damn.
she was a real bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you. She had the audacity of telling me, "Oh, other people had worse." I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck you." This is the reason why I don't enjoy studying at my current faculty right now, because the lack of empathy in these people is so mind-boggling, and I'm like, oh god, I just can't wait to graduate, because
That's quite a toxic environment you have there.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then I was dealing with a lot of shit after my dad passed away, and of course I was dealing a lot of shit at home. So my safe place was in college. When I went back to college, the first and second year was a really bad year for me because I rarely attend class. Okay, that I know it's a bad thing. I didn't attend class, but it's a form of escape for me, because I did wake up for going to class, but then I would just stay in bed, being in stasis, looking up at the roof, at the ceiling, and like, God, I'm so damn fucking tired. It was every day. So due to that behavior, I garnered a few negative insight from my classmates, from lecturers, and a few enemies as well, because I don't know what's their problem. So yeah. And I just don't it's actually a form of escapism for me. Okay, I was really in a bad mood, in a bad place, in a bad situation, emotionally and psychologically. There was at this one point where I have thought about taking one of my knives and just putting it in my wrist, and like, I'm just gonna, I don't know what I felt like, what does it feel like to just
Slit your wrist. Yeah.
And then at that moment it snapped. It snapped like, you know what, Haikal? This is not you. Okay? This is not you. Alright? You're not the person who usually goes through stuff like this. And you need help. So yeah, I went looking for help. I went to counseling, a few counseling lah. Okay?
Yeah.
And then
In UPM?
Yeah, UPM. I went to counseling in UPM for a few times. And then not just that, I started talking more to my friends, and then all you need during this bad time is someone to listen. They don't need to respond, they just need to listen to what you have to say. Because you've been accumulating all of this thing inside yourself, and you want it to let it all out, but you don't know how. Okay? And mind you, I was the firstborn, so I had no abang or kakak to tell me or how to grieve. And a lot of my friends are my age, and they also don't know how to grieve properly. So I was lost.
We're all effed
Yeah,
up at that type of stage.
And the thing is, you have to figure it all out, all on your own. So when you figure it all out, when you figure it all out on your own, you also have to take into consideration the fact that you have a little brother and you have a little sister back at home, and your goal is, when you figure this shit out, in a sense, you can tell your little brother and your little sister how they can prepare for that thing. So this is the thing that sucks about being a firstborn lah, being an anak sulung, because you have no abang or kakak or any guy to help you get through life. You have to figure it all out. And during that time, my dad passed away, so I'm like, oh god, I have to be the mature guy in the house, whereas I'm like the most childish guy in the house. So it's like, oh god, it's so hard.
And it's very hard for you. And then I mean, like, you're young, and then you need to handle all this shit on your own. And people, the most, I think the most hard thing for you, I guess, is the level of expectation on becoming the true leader of the family, and becoming the, how can I say, the new guider for the family. Yeah.
Talking about expectation, that stuff is really, really, really heavy on your shoulder. It's really heavy. That topic, expectation. Because I was always compared, in my family, we have this toxic trait, like, in the extensive family, we all have this, I don't know, it's a competition among parents to, like, hey, my son can do that, hey, your son can do that, my son can do this better. Okay?
So it's Asian thing, man.
Yeah, it's an Asian thing. And then my family is like on the top of the pedestal among all of the other competitions. So I was always looked upon because I was the son of someone who's a major importance inside the family. So everyone, even till this day, when I went to family gathering, they all would say, hey, anak nan. Tu anak nan, oi, dah besar dah anak nan. Okay? Uish, anak nan buat apa lah? They don't call me by my name, they call me by my father's name. And then they all would say,
which is a heavy thing. Yeah.
Yes, that expectation that's put upon your shoulder, because you had to perform in your life in an expected way that follows how your father would go. And one of the things that I always get compared to with my dad is how he navigates through life, how he studies all. I still remember one of my aunts was like, why aren't you like your brother? Why aren't you like your father?
Wow.
And I'm like, excuse me. My dad at the age of 21, he doesn't have to deal with any of this shit. He had the opportunity of going study abroad. And studying abroad at that time meant total freedom from parents. What am I stuck with now?
Yeah.
I'm stuck with here. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that the circumstances that my dad is too different. Yes, it's too different.
Yeah.
And then my dad isn't burdened with the fact that he had to think about the family's financial situation. He doesn't have to think about paying bills. He doesn't have to think about how his parents were grieving or not. Because till this day, my mom is still heavily affected by my father's loss. Okay. So he doesn't really, all he needs to do in Japan is stay there and study. Whereas I'm
which
here,
is easier.
Yeah, which is a lot easier.
Malaysian university culture.
Yeah. And then the situation there during that time is there's a lack of communication internationally. Okay? It's not like today. Today we can just WhatsApp people from the other side of the globe. Just like that. But in those times you had to send mail. So
quite a long time to receive that mail.
So I said that to my aunt, and she's still like, yeah, but you still could be like your father. I'm like, I was this close, like, bitch, listen, I am tired, okay? Don't you ever, don't dare to cross me now. Don't. I have my patience also.
Yeah, it's the lack of empathy from the older generation, I guess,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
being in the Asian culture, we
And then it also
tend.
affects the way you act in life, you know, the way you walk in life. Okay?
Mm,
I tried my best to deviate myself from how my father acts, but in the end, I can't run away from it because when I look back at it, in some ways, me and my father are almost the same, but also we had our own specialty in the way we walk our life.
mm,
Yeah. And
yeah.
when I went to family meetings and all, my cousin and all would say, you know what, you when you talk in front of other people, you talk like your father.
Mm,
When you talk in private, you talk as yourself. So it's like a
mm.
splitting personality. It's like a merging personality between those two generations, and you're the best product of it. I'm like, oh, I'm flattered, thank you.
So you kind of, I mean, due to the expectation you got from your extended family, I think you kind of, how can I say this? Uh, brings out your dad's persona as a leader because you were taught by him at a young age, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I can understand that the reason why you kind of becoming like your father, which is a good thing. Yeah.
but then here's the thing about leadership, is that it's not an easy thing that most other people are reluctant to take up with. Leading a family is quite different than leading an organization or leading friends or leading your social class, your social circle. It's really different, you know. Each social circle demands a different leading attribute, a different leading personality. Now, I'm still learning on how to become a good leader based on what I've been taught by my dad, you know. And also one of the things that's really hard as a leader for you to make, that's burdened me every single time, is decision making, because not every decision that you make, even though it is the right decision, doesn't mean it's the most popular decision.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
some people will just, they think that decision is bad but it's actually good for them. That's the thing. That mentality is because when you became a leader, you're not sitting below or in the middle, you're sitting practically up on top where you can see everything that's happening under you. So the decision and the point of view that you're having, it affects your decision making because you can see practically up there most of the things, okay? Not all of it, but most of the things, and you know the inside story of each other person and how they think semua tu. So it affects your decision making, unlike those people in the lower position of yourself, where they think that decision is wrong because it doesn't suit them, but rather the leader is
Mm,
thinking that the decision that he's making suits not just himself but all the people that's in his circle.
mm-hmm.
So it's really hard. One of the things that's really
Yeah.
hard for me is when I make a right decision, but then the people around me were like, you make that decision. And then
Mm,
the events that followed afterwards, it proved to be true to my speculations and all. And they're still egoistical about saying, oh, you're right. Yeah, they still won't admit. And it brought to me till this day some like shit, even when I'm right, you still won't admit it, you know. So yeah,
I think it's probably because of the lack of communication that they don't have.
yeah,
I can't really say
possibly,
this, but I think they have a close mind about it. Because that's the
possibly.
thing. If you don't open your mind, you don't really open up and to have like conversation with other people, right? Which is a hard thing. So that's the problem where people can't empathize with each other That's the big barrier lah, if I could say, for the lack of better terms. So, and being a leader for me is quite a lonesome life, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's very lonely because you try to navigate this team or this family or whatever,
True.
and then not a lot of people like with your style or your decision, and yeah, can relate a lot about that with you, and
It's true. It's
yeah,
true.
that's the thing. Well, there's different mindset between a leader and a follower. A follower is just that, oh, I got this thing, I just do this task that I have in front of me, and until it's finished, and then I'm done. Yay, done. Being a leader, you need to think like 2, 3, 5 step ahead, and that's the most, that's the hardest thing, I guess. Yeah, and then you need to handle with the family or people dynamics and psychological. Yeah, I think in terms of, I think you got that a lot from your family or your university life.
From what? Being a leader?
Yeah,
I got that from my dad.
yeah. No. I mean like the situation that you're in, like when people are like doubting you. I
University.
guess
Confirm
in
university.
university.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem with university is that they're too focused on, it's not, I can't say really that they're too focused on giving the student the assignments, but for the matter of fact, there's a lot of assignment for a university student, and
For me personally, each university student has its own way of thinking depending on the culture of the university itself. Yeah. Now there's a huge difference in gap in the way of thinking between public universities and private universities. This I can really tell because I have also a few friends from private universities and public universities.
yeah, it
And
also depends though.
also it also depends on the racial distribution of, yeah, that I'm not gonna lie, okay.
Yeah,
And also I'm not
yeah,
gonna really touch into that, but it also
yeah.
plays a huge part in the way university students think, okay. So for me, a lot of my friends who are a lot more enjoyable and who are a lot more empathetic and more understanding
Mm.
comes from an open-minded social circle. You know, I find it much more easier to talk to them regarding all of these crucial points, these crucial topics, from my friends that are in private universities, and also from my friends who, rather than my friends who are in public universities,
Mm.
because there are just certain topics that you cannot talk with public universities. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem with not Malaysian university but universities in problem
Yeah.
nowadays are they don't generate thinkers.
I think they generate
They
thinkers. I think personally they do generate thinkers, but
yeah
the form of thinking that they are producing, now that's the issue. Yeah,
okay,
because
you see it.
there's always going to be a right wing and a left wing, you know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But the important thing is that you can't really be within the edge of the each wing, right? Because you'll be radical, I guess.
Yeah, true.
The university itself, being in the university life itself is very hard for certain people, and I got a friend, his story is that his mother passed away, and then he got this a lot of assignments and practical that he needs to do, and it was taken toll on him, and then he falls under depression. And when people depressed, like you did, try to slip the race and try to do like harm to yourself, right? And it was heartbreaking moment for me because the problem is with when you seeing your friend like grieving and having depression, it's kind of hard on yourself because you question you felt the guilt that you carry from you being your friend. You don't like take care of him and you don't help him during that tough moment, and yeah, it's take a toll on me, I guess. And yeah, the important thing is I think a lot of people need to become more empathetic and understanding of other people because we walk in a different walks of life, and
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's true. And also perception lah, people's perception. I've also
Mm.
faced hardship because of the perception that the people in my class think that I came from a rich family.
Mm.
I'm I will say this, okay, just for clarification. I wasn't born into a rich family, but I was born into a family yang senang. Okay? To an easy
Mm-hmm.
family. Okay? We're not rich, but we're comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people in my class tend to think that I'm rich, and they
Mm.
had a problem thinking that I don't have any problem because I have money. I'm like, no, it's
Mm.
because I have money that I'm in problem.
Too much money, I guess.
No,
uh,
but apa? So yeah, they tend to become less empathetic to people because they think I had money, which I don't
mm.
personally. My family does, but I don't. So they like to just treat me like as if nothing just happened. You know?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, that's really hard. I'm
Man.
like,
I mean, at least have a level of understanding.
I pernah gaduh dengan pernah gaduh dengan budak dalam kelas aku ni because he was being very insensitive about something, and
Mm.
I said that's wrong. Okay, and also because I just got back from work during that time, and then he
Mm-hmm.
kept making fun of it, and I said stop, and then it blew into gaduh dalam group WhatsApp ah, and I was really tired.
Mm.
Okay, I was really really tired, so yeah, to the point where I just blow, and then people would just in the class group would just like, hey Kal, chill lah, kan, kau dah kenapa siap?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're talking about bullying. You're talking about accepting bullying culture. So yeah, I'm not gonna accept that. I don't know what's your
Mm.
problem with accepting bullying culture.
It's easy. It's like it's easy to have a perception of someone rather than having the time
Mm-hmm.
and place to talk about it and to settle the differences and have a good communication. It's easier. I think people think it's easier to just have a perception and just give the person the judgment and okay, I can move to the next thing. And I think that's a very toxic culture.
Yeah, true.
I mean, like you face your dad's death and then your brother's death, and then you need to deal with like the kids in university. Damn.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's
so
life.
yeah, yeah, life's hard. So how did you get like found comfort? How did you look at positive side?
Oh, okay. It wasn't easy. Truth to be told, it wasn't easy for you to find comfort. It's really not easy because I look for comfort in all sorts of places. Legit in all sorts of
Mm.
places. A lot of things. A lot of things. There are places there are places that's bad. There are places that's good. Okay. But one of my earliest recollection of dealing with grief was, I know it's kind of bad thing, but dancing, dancing, yeah,
It's not a bad thing.
dancing at track. Uh, Dancing. Do you know track?
Huh? Track.
Yeah, track.
Track. Okay, what's right?
Okay, you don't know what's right. Okay, it's okay.
TREK.
TREC.
Track. Okay. Is it a form of music?
Now it's a nightclub.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, I've done good things and bad things also after my dad's death, because I was really trying to comfort myself in so many ways, and I think during that time was also the phase where I'm like really into trying stuff, like trying new
Experimental.
stuff, yeah, being experimental and all. And I did hook up to a few things that I like. But I think the best way for me lah, for me personally, to deal with to find comfort is with friends and family. That's all.
Mm.
Being with friends and families, genuine friends, supportive families, and if you're lucky down the lane, a good and an understanding significant other.
Yeah. I can't understand that because you're handling this much of, how can I say, it's not a form of burden, because you can't really say it's a burden, it's a responsibility, and
Yeah, it's a
really
responsibility.
hard,
It's not a
and-
burden, because
and
you're tasked with that responsibility. Okay, you inherited that responsibility, and I think understandingly from my age, I think it's acceptable lah. For if a person like if a person at the age of me went off road for a while, because practically, like I said, during those time, it was really a confusing time. You're trying to figure out all of the things on yourself.
if I'm not mistaken, during the years of 19 years old to 21 years old, or no, 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a psychological thing. Teenagers and adolescents tend to do experimental thing because
Yeah.
they want to find their identity.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
I'm not mistaken, yeah, so basically you're trying to find your identity, you're trying to find yourself.
Yeah, because you're
And
still trying to
that-
you're still trying to figure out who are you and who you're supposed to be. But suddenly you're show with the responsibility, oh, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that. I'm like, well, I don't want to be any of those that yet. Okay, I still want to live the rest of my life. I want to still enjoy my youth life. Okay, I'm not into this shit. But then
yeah,
it's responsibility, so nak tak nak you kena terima juga. Now the question is, how are you going to accept it with a wholehearted? You know, you don't. Truth be told, you don't. But over time, you'll learn, and you kinda assimilate into that responsibility, into that role naturally over time. And yeah, my best advice for people who are dealing with grief and who are also dealing with a lot of responsibilities back at home, just like me, or something similar to what I'm facing, is just that just do what you want to do. Just do it. Right?
Nike slogan.
If you want to go do, yeah, because if you kept the thinking of, oh, if I did this, it'll bring shame. If I did this, my parents are not gonna be proud of it. Fuck that. Because it's your life. Just don't do something that's really, really bad, but to an extent, do something that makes you feel that makes you satisfied. You know, I'm all about a person's liberation. You know, all about freedom. Yeah. But you just have to keep in mind the responsibility that you are given, that you have to carry on with your shoulder. That's something that you cannot run away, and it's something that you cannot ignore. While you were doing your stuff, also try to better yourself in fulfilling that responsibility. Try to learn.
I think taking a break is quite an important thing during that tough time.
Yeah.
Because when you're taking a break, you can reflect on yourself and the whole freaking situation that you're facing right now.
Yeah.
And that's the most thing people. The problem is that people don't really take breaks. Which is that's one of the most important thing in finding
People are always
yourself.
rushing in their life,
Yes.
especially university students, because they want to rush their degree and just start working, start facing their next phase of life. And I'm like, chill, just relax, don't rush. You know, I don't know what's the problem with people nowadays. Is that why do they want to rush so fast? Each people have their own tempo. If you can rush things, then and you're fine with it, then it's okay. But if you realize that when you're rushing things and you start to see that the action of yours rushing things are affecting your life, the people surrounding you, then I'd say you should take a break and relax. Yeah, that degree is not going to go anywhere unless if it's the end of the world. But that degree is not going anywhere. All right.
Yeah, even we have coronavirus.
Yeah.
We're still gonna graduate. Chill,
Yeah,
man.
chill. That degree is not going anywhere.
Belum kiamat lagi.
Tak nak cakap macam tu, but
That's so liberal. Oh my god. That's so open-minded.
but like I said, you live at your own time. You're not living in other people's time. So why need to rush? Why do you need to rush? Unless you have a responsibility that requires for you to rush, then yes, I think you should rush. It's all about people's punya life.
Yeah, walks of life, and from what I learned from this podcast, is that people go through stages of grief, and like yourself, you go into stages of denial, anger, bargaining, depression.
Yeah.
And then lastly, acceptance. And sometimes it's hard to move on from grief. And,
it's really hard.
And it's not how can you say, it's not stages that you go and then after it finishes it stops. You kind of bring that grief alongside with you. It's not how you deal with it, it's how you take it. And I think
I would like to quote a certain quote from How I Met Your Mother, the TV show. Okay, this is
Barney Stinson. Is it from Barney Stinson?
No, this one is not from Barney. This one is legit from Ted. Okay, so Ted quote that a broken heart only needs time. Only time can heal a broken heart. True. I say that's true. Okay, because grief is not something you can just snap out of it. No, grief is a process. Okay, it goes through. It depends on your own strength as a person, as an individual. Okay, some person it may take a lot of years. Maybe it takes about a decade. Maybe it takes about, and then there are some people who takes about my dad's dead, so about 2-3 years, then it's okay. Okay. So I cannot say we cannot put into perception that a lot of people on average will go through grievance for about a certain amount of time. Each person has their own process, has their own way, has their own way of handling. They have their own process. They have their own strength, individual strength to go through that thing. So yeah,
guys, with that bombshell we're gonna end our podcast, and I want to say thank you to Haikal for being my guest.
Thank you, Iqbal, for having me.
He dropped a lot of knowledge bombs within this podcast. I guess a lot of people are going to benefit from it.
Truth to be told, a lot of things I haven't touched yet, because when we're talking about experience, there's a lot of things that I haven't talked about yet. So I hope those people who are listening to this, I hope you guys learn a few things from what I have shared. And thank you, Iqbal, for having me. Thank you very much.
Welcome, man. Yeah. All right, with that, see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.